Yeah, it's October 1st, which means that in 30 days it's Halloween. Ooh. And until then, I'll be here posting videos in this series that I would like to call The Horrors of 2018. And, since I've been away for quite a while, some gangsters, and I figured the best way to make up for that is probably just to post a bunch of videos. So this series is going to be 15 videos long. How about that? Also, I'm kind of dreading already that I'm not going to be able to finish, like all these videos within the month of October. So it might run a little longer than, past Halloween. But we'll see. Just bear with me. I'm trying my best. First, some quick rules. I've decided to not cover any of the, like the big Hollywood horror movies, like sequels, prequels, spin-offs, because really, who wants to see that? Then, some titles will be more traditional horror than others, so, take the term horror in the Horrors of 2018, take it with a grain of salt. And finally, by a 2018 release, I mean a movie that had its widest release in this year. So, for example, you can have a movie that had its premiere at some obscure festival last year. If most people saw it this year, it's a 2018 release. Also, I've covered a few popular titles already, and, well, I'm not gonna go over those again, which means that we're going to start with The Ritual, which I guess is also a relatively popular one. So, you know what? Let's just jump right in. So, picked up by Netflix for a global release, we follow a bunch of old friends discussing plans for an upcoming trip.
Why don't we go to, boom, Amsterdam?
Nah, that's too touristy now, isn't it?
Well, I guess that's true. You know what? Maybe picking up a bottle of vodka will improve the suggestions. But, oh shit, what's going on here? One of the two guys that went in is like, well, fuck that shit. But then his friend gets beaten to death. Damn. So, in remembrance of their dead friend, they've decided to take a hiking trip through the Swedish mountains, since that was his suggestion. So, nice, a little hiking trip, doo-doo-doo. What's that? These guys are like, come on dog, not this shit again. His name, the guy that just fell, his name is Dom. You know what that means in Dutch? Yeah. Just saying. Anyway, he's twisted his knee, so in order to cut back on the walking, they've decided to take a shortcut through the forest. And this, of course, is where a bunch of weird shit starts to happen. And well, that's basically the story. And now you might go like, ugh, I've seen that, but what is this, the Blair Witch Project? Well, no, it isn't. This movie's actually pretty great. First of all, it's based on a book, which, of course, I haven't read. But from what I understand, there's much more going on in that story. Much more than just scary forest stuff. So, you know what? Let me just walk you through some of the stuff that I thought worked pretty well in this movie. First of all, the cast. They're great. Their chemistry and, their casual banter, it's all quite realistic and believable. Like, they're legit, likable, enjoyable characters. And then when later there's all drama and shit, it doesn't feel forced. I wasn't like, okay, here we go. It's the end of the second act, isn't it? Here it's much more like an organic result of stuff that's been building up. So, that's fun. Then there's the locations. The majority of this movie obviously is shot on location, and sure, it's shot in Romania rather than Sweden, but it still looks pretty impressive. And, it definitely gives the viewer this feeling of dread. It's isolated as hell, it's cold, it's wet, it's, well, fucked. So, that's fun too. Yeah, but that's all stuff that, that's what would make it a good movie. But you're all here, of course, to see a horror movie, so is it actually scary? Well, of course, like, something being scary, it's very subjective. For example, I think that the Blair Witch Project is, like, scary, while a lot of other people think that that movie is a joke. So, let me just walk you through my experience with this movie, the scary stuff. I mostly appreciated how it was rather well built up. The tension and the scares. First you get the dead deer, the cravings in the trees. What is this, like amateur hour? But then they arrive at this cabin and it's like, okay. And then later, you know, like during the night after, it's like, oh shit. And you know, from there on it just goes on and on. And I'm personally just a sucker for these type of horror situations. I'm not comparing it to the Blair Witch Project per se, even though I keep bringing it up. But there's just something about this whole, you know, like camping in the forest shit that just freaks me out. Plus, the whole time you keep wondering, you're asking yourself like, okay, so what actually is going on? You know, what's the great reveal going to be? And, well, I always like that. It's like, what? But eventually you do find out. But that would mean, of course, me spoiling the movie. So, you know, if you want to avoid any kind of spoiler, skip to this time mark. And then, you know, I'll just go through it really quick. Okay? Okay. Basically, there's this cult community that worships this ancient godlike creature straight out of Norse mythology. And then, in the end, the main character will be forced to partake in this ritual. The ritual, if you will. And, well, in traditional monster movie fashion, first we don't get to see it at all, then little by little, until finally, boom! And holy shit, this creature actually looks really cool, in my opinion. And the CGI is rather well done for what I assume was a, you know, like a rather low budget production. And I personally also didn't mind that it ended up being like this, you know, like a creature feature. It's just, I didn't really care too much for the ending, you know, the actual ending. Which to me just felt a little rushed. But you should just see that for yourself, in case you haven't already. So, yeah, pretty effective little horror movie, where the characters themselves definitely made a difference for me. Recommended. It was the feature-length debut from director David Bruckner, who previously mostly worked on anthology movie segments, including VHS, which I didn't really care for. But then again, his contribution to that movie was still probably the best segment. So, you know, after this one, The Ritual, I'll keep an eye on him. So, what did you guys think of The Ritual? If you've seen it already. It's pretty cool, right? Or did I get it all wrong? Let me know, and then I'll see you in the next Horrors of 2018 video, where things are gonna get spooky. Woo! Cheers, guys.